You've been fed the biggest lie your whole life, that success is some distant dream, something you work toward for decades, and maybe, just maybe, if the planets align and you're lucky enough, it might find its way to you. Rubbish, absolute nonsense. Success isn't about luck. It's not about sitting around waiting for someone to recognize you. It's not about hoping for a promotion, waiting for approval, or playing nice so someone else hands you an opportunity. Success is about control. It's about domination. It's about owning every second of your day with ruthless precision and deciding, not hoping that you're going to win. 7 days, that's all you need. Not 7 years, not 7 months, 7 days. Understand something. This isn't about becoming a billionaire in a week. This isn't magic, but what it is a trigger, a launch pad. 7 days of absolute war with your laziness, your excuses, your addictions, and your mediocrity. 7 days where you go to war with your weakness, your comfort, and everything that's kept you stuck. 7 days where you reset your mind, shift your momentum, and slam the accelerator so hard that average people choke on your dust. You want results? Then you need a plan, not a soft, flexible plan, a militant one you follow like your life depends on it, because it does. Day 1 is about reclaiming control. You wake up early. Not at 7 a.m., like a slave to society, not at 8 a.m., like someone hoping the world will carry them. I'm talking about 4 or 5 a.m., when the world is dead quiet, when the cowards are still dreaming, because the morning is pure. It's sacred, no distractions, no noise, no drama, just you and your purpose. That silence is your weapon. Winners own the morning. They don't wake up reacting. They wake up attacking. You get out of bed and you move. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care if your body aches. You move, you run, you train, you push your limits physically. Why? Because motion creates momentum, pain creates focus, and weakness doesn't belong in a man who wants to dominate his life. You force yourself through that first workout, and already you're ahead of 99% of people who spent their morning cuddling comfort. You look yourself in the mirror, sweating, exhausted, heart pounding, and you realize something vital. You didn't die, you didn't break. You pushed and you're still standing, that's power. Then you sit down and map out your week, but not like a schoolboy with some flimsy to-do list. This isn't about tasks. It's about targets, precision, clarity. You identify exactly what needs to happen in the next 7 days. You write down your financial goals, your physical goals, your mental goals. You set a number. Not, I want to make more money. No, that's weak. You say, I will generate $1,000, or I will gain 2 clients, or I will produce 10 hours of content. Specific, aggressive, real. The vague dreams die. They serve no one. Precision fuels execution. You then build your day around these goals, hour by hour. What time do you eat? What time do you train? What time do you grind? Where are the gaps where weakness hides? You identify and eliminate. Time becomes your currency. Every minute wasted is money burned. Every distraction is a thief. You set boundaries. Your phone on silent. Social media gone unless you're using it as a tool, not a toy. Your environment clean, disciplined, structured. You are no longer allowed to operate like a civilian. You're not some regular guy fumbling through his day. You're at war with mediocrity. And understand, most people don't even make it through day 1. They think they want success, but they can't even wake up early without hitting snooze. They say they're hungry, but they eat garbage. They say they want more, but they can't sit still without checking their phone. They don't want success. They want comfort. They want applause without effort. They want recognition without sacrifice. That's not how this works. You either take full control or you remain controlled by the system. Period. You move through day 1 like a machine. Wake, train, plan, execute. No deviation. You eat clean, not because it's trendy, but because junk food is mental poison. If you can't control what you eat, how will you control your life? If your cravings dominate you, how will you dominate anything? Discipline is forged in the fire of small decisions. You drink water, you feed your body, you train again, you study, you learn. You don't scroll for dopamine hits. You don't waste hours in distraction. You consume knowledge that elevates you, books, courses, strategies, anything that sharpens your edge, and when fatigue creeps in, and it will, you don't negotiate. You push, you don't retreat to comfort, you don't seek escape. You press harder because fatigue is weakness leaving the body. You suffer with a purpose. You move knowing that this pain is temporary, but the pride you earn is permanent. And here's the reality. Day one is about proving to yourself that you are no longer a prisoner of your excuses. You are no longer the man who needs external motivation. You are self-governed. You move because it's required. You execute because you said you would. Integrity with yourself is the foundation of power. As the sun sets on that first day, something shifts. Your posture changes. Your thoughts become sharper. You don't crave entertainment. You crave results. You're no longer interested in watching others win. You're obsessed with building your own victory, and that's rare, that's dangerous. Because when a man realizes that he's capable of full discipline for just one day, he starts to wonder, what if I did it again? What if this became my life? And the truth is, most men never ask that question. They just float, consumed by routine, controlled by weakness, distracted by every shiny object that flashes across their screen. But you're different. You're on a mission now. The fire is lit, and you're beginning to understand something critical. Success doesn't take time. It takes decisions. One day of full commitment teaches you more than years of half effort. One day of absolute control changes your brain, your body, your identity. And if you think this is about money, you're missing the point. Money is a side effect. Success is a byproduct. This is about becoming the kind of man who follows through. The kind of man who commands respect, not demands it. The kind of man who looks in the mirror and doesn't flinch. Because he knows he gave everything, not just once, but daily. You build that man on day one. And once he's born, there's no going back. You move different. You think different. You no longer tolerate the old you. The lazy you, the distracted you, the soft, excuse-making version of you that used to dominate your life. That man dies on day one, and good riddance. He served no one. He was weak. He was average. He held you back. Now the real work begins. You've opened the door to a higher level. You've caught a glimpse of the power you've always had but never unleashed. And it all began with one choice: to wake up early, to reject comfort, to execute with no compromise. One day, that's all it takes to begin the transformation, but it must be real. No shortcuts, no fake hustle, no pretending. You either do it or you don't. And if you do, if you go all in, if you burn the boats, if you attack the day like your life depends on it, you will experience something few men ever feel: control. Not control over others, but mastery of yourself. And once you taste that, you'll never be the same again. You already planned your week. Now it's about execution, not ideas, not intentions, execution. The work doesn't care about your feelings. The results don't care about your stress. You either perform or you don't. That's the game. So you attack your list. You break your comfort. You override the pathetic voice inside your head that says, just do a little. That voice is the death of potential. It's the same voice that's kept people average for decades. You weren't born to be average. If you're listening to this, there's a reason. Somewhere deep inside you, you know you're meant to dominate. So dominate, this is the part where most people start negotiating with themselves. They say things like, I'll just get to it later, or maybe I'll go a little easier today. That's where mediocrity creeps back in. The door only opens when you stop being strict. Let one thing slide and the whole structure collapses. You said you were going to wake up early, do it. You said you'd train, do it. You said you'd build your business, eat clean, read, improve. Then don't leave space for negotiation. Success doesn't come from doing it once. It comes from doing it when it's boring, when it's hard, when it's inconvenient. Real power is in consistency, not excitement. By day 3, your body is adjusting, but your mind is still testing you. It's looking for any excuse to let up. It's scanning for weakness. That's when you need to double down. You look in the mirror and you say, I don't skip. That's the new identity. Not I'll try. Not I'll do my best. It's I don't skip. You either are the type who shows up or the type who lies to themselves. Most people lie to themselves every day and wonder why they're depressed. Wonder why they hate their lives. It's not rocket science. If you say you're going to do something and don't do it, your self-respect dies, and self-respect is the foundation of strength. You carry that attitude into your work. You carry it into your training. You carry it into your diet, your relationships, your decisions. You become the type of person who finishes everything they start. That's rare in this world. Most people start things and abandon them. They move on the second it gets tough. They never follow through. That's why they're broke, weak, overweight, and unfulfilled. You want to be exceptional, follow through every single time, no matter what. And not because you're motivated. Motivation is garbage. It's emotional. It comes and goes. What matters is commitment, ruthless, emotionless commitment. Day 4 is when your energy might dip. Your brain will say, this is unsustainable. That's the exact moment you prove it wrong. You show your brain who's boss. You're not a prisoner to thoughts. You're a warrior, and warriors don't entertain doubt. They stomp it out. The reason most people never win is because they're too soft on themselves. They pamper their emotions. They listen to every insecure thought like it's gospel. You want to know what builds success? Silence. Silence the doubt. Silence the fear. Silence the excuses. Get up. Get moving. Get things done. By now, you should already see small results. You feel sharper. You look better. You're thinking faster. You're less distracted. That's not a coincidence. That's the power of daily discipline compounding. Every day you stack wins, they add up. That's how confidence is built, not with affirmations, not with words, with evidence. You stack proof that you're unstoppable, that you can be trusted, that you are exactly who you say you are. And then something magical happens, momentum. You're not pushing anymore, you're gliding, still grinding, still working, but the mental war starts to shift in your favor. You become dangerous, you become focused. You become harder to kill, but don't get cocky. Momentum is fragile. Lose one day, and it snowballs backward. That's what most people don't understand. It's not just missing a workout. It's not just skipping one task. It's an opening, an invitation for the old you to return. You skip once, it becomes easier to skip again. And before you know it, you're back at zero, lying to yourself again, looking in the mirror and hating what you see. So don't lose momentum, guard it with your life. Structure your days so failure isn't even possible. Wake up with a plan, execute without question, eliminate distractions. Your phone isn't your friend, it's your leash. Cut it, now it's day 5 and your habits are solidifying. This is where you double down on systems, not willpower. Systems, willpower fades, systems last. You build your day like a machine. Wake, move, eat, work, train, learn, repeat. No empty space, no mindless scrolling, no wasted time. Every hour is accounted for. You know what you're doing and why. And if someone tries to pull you off course, you cut them off, not out of malice, but because your vision matters more than their comfort. That's what successful people understand. You're either building your empire or helping someone else build theirs. Choose, you refine, you eliminate what's not serving you. You upgrade your inputs. Stop watching garbage. Stop eating garbage. Stop thinking garbage. Success starts in the mind and flows outward. You can't feed your brain junk and expect greatness. So protect your mental diet. Fill your mind with strategy, mindset, information, and skill. Every book, every podcast, every mentor, treat them like weapons. Sharpen your arsenal, learn fast, apply immediately, forget perfection, focus on action. Every hour spent consuming should be matched with an hour of execution. That's the formula. Knowledge plus movement equals power. You're now past the halfway point, day 6. You start realizing that most people are nowhere close to doing what you're doing. They're sleeping in. They're binge watching, they're gossiping, they're relaxing, you're rising, you're working, you're creating, you're conquering. This is when your circle starts to feel different. You see them with new eyes. You notice how average their conversations are. You notice how slow their pace is. That's not arrogance. It's clarity. You've leveled up, and with every level comes distance. The old world gets smaller. You're not better than anyone, but you're certainly different. Because you're obsessed with greatness and they're comfortable with mediocrity. You keep going, you stay locked in, the body is stronger. The mind is sharper, the routine is tighter, you don't need to think anymore, you just do. You've become a machine, a warrior with a schedule, a leader with purpose, but the mission's not over. The moment you think you've made it, you fall. There is no finish line, there's only the next level, the next obstacle, the next test. Success isn't something you own, it's rented, and rent is due every day, so you pay it. gladly, with sweat, with effort. With obsession, day 7 hits and you reflect. But briefly, not for praise, not for celebration, but for analysis. What worked? What needs adjusting? Where did you hesitate? Where can you be sharper? That's how winners operate. Not with emotions, but with data. You learn from yourself. You refine the system. You get more efficient, more deadly. Because next week, you're not doing this all over again. You're doing it better. You're not just repeating the plan, you're optimizing it. Every loop is tighter, every action more precise. That's how compounding power is built. Not with intensity alone, but with refinement. And here's the truth, you're only scratching the surface. 7 days was never about success. It was about proving that you're not a slave to weakness. It was about showing yourself that structure leads to freedom. That discipline is the highest form of self-love. That routine isn't a cage, it's a weapon. The weak avoid structure because they want to be free. But their freedom is slavery, slavery to cravings, emotions, distractions, and impulses. You built a system that liberates you from all of that. You control your time, you control your mind, you control your reality, and once you taste that kind of power, you'll never settle again. You've just proven that greatness isn't some distant dream, it's a daily decision. 7 days of structure, pain, focus, and fire, and now you know the truth. Success bows to discipline. Power respects consistency. The world doesn't hand you results. You take them. You don't need more time, more luck, or more motivation. You need more intensity, more precision, more you. You built momentum. Now protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. The old you is dead. The weak version is buried. From this point forward, you don't wait. You dominate. Every day is war, and now you're armed.